Hi everyone, I am a Major. In this video, we're going to look at segmentation, variable selection, and settings. First, we draw in the drawing area, a smart box or group component. Then activate the space segmentation, the plates we draw in the drawing area, and these models drawn in the drawing area. Variables to control them. Okay, now we can double-click on any of the plates, and the corresponding parameter panel will pop up. Here, we can control the current board through parameters. For example, if we want to set the thickness of a plate, we can make a setting here. We can see at the bottom, we can see a setting for the plate thickness. We can see the thickness is 18. Now we click on it. We can see that it cannot be modified. The reason is that, by default, a variable is loaded. We click on this icon. We can see that it is loaded, a variable with a thickness of 18. We can also here to switch to other variables, and it will automatically switch. Let's click back. Okay, if we don't want the variable, we click here to delete it. Click it. Then this variable will be deleted. We can modify it, and modify it to the thickness we want. Okay, click Apply. Okay, at this time, for beginners, they may ask, we can modify it manually. It's very convenient. But if we add variables, we can't modify it. So, we need to have an understanding of this variable. We need to have an understanding. So, this variable, we can simply understand it as, can be controlled by parameters. Okay, in order to let everyone see a demonstration intuitively, we will delete the right side panel, the variable here. We will delete it. We manually give it a thickness of 50. And then this plate here, the top plate, and this plate here, the left side panel, and the bottom plate here. These three plates, they still have corresponding variables. Let's click Apply first. Then, we can generate it. Okay, at this time, we can activate the space division. Then we can double-click on this top plate. We can see that it has added this variable. Okay, double-click to see that. It has this variable by itself, right? Only this board that we just manually deleted, which has no variable. Then we will find that this plate, we can't control it through parameters. Every time we change it, we need to change it here. For these three boards, we can click the Edit button on the left, and then control it through the parameters here. For example, if we want to change it to 9, we enter 9 here, and then apply it. We will find that the top plate, left side panel, and bottom panel can be quickly changed. So, it's like, we can control it through these parameters. This is actually more convenient. Otherwise, we need to manually to modify this board, and modify this board manually, and modify this board manually. If dozens or hundreds of boards need to be modified, then we need to modify them one by one. The workload will be very large. Then we can modify it through variables here, and parameters here to modify. We can modify them all at once. Therefore, we can modify the settings of the board. When editing settings, if we can use variables, we should use variables as much as possible. So, here, after we change it and apply it, at this time, the right side panel, it can be controlled by this variable. To control it, of course, we can also add and set it ourselves, because by default, we can see that there are a few variables here, are relatively few. If we want to add a variable ourselves, such as if we want to split a plate, we can see that the variable for splitting the plate, there is no variable. At this time, we want to add a variable to the plate. In this way, we can use parameters, and through the parameters here, to control the current plate segmentation. Isn't it very convenient? But we will find that the variable of the splitting of this plate, there is no variable. So we need to consider how to set and add this variable. Well, this is also very simple. We can click this button, and then the Edit Parameter panel pops up. We can see here there is a button to add variables. There is a button to add such a parameter. After clicking it, we can write our name here, such as sheet splitting. And then below, we can also write a part splitting. Okay, we use this English letters to replace it. We can write English words, or like me, by using some characters to replace it, which is all fine. Okay then. We can here select our corresponding types. Okay then. We can here write down our board variable parameter for the splitting. For example, we want this to be 60. And 60 on the right. And the middle part is deleted. So, we can write 60 millimeters divided by -1. 60 millimeters. Okay, then we click Save. Okay, at this time, we have added such a variable for splitting. Okay, let's apply it. After adding this, we can double-click on this board. After double-clicking on this board, we click on this variable here in the board splitting. Click on this variable. Okay, we can see that the variable we just added. Let's apply it. We can see the effect like this. Right. Okay, if we add this variable. We can add this variable to this board. We can add this variable. Here. We should pay attention to its direction. This should be its Y direction. Then, double-click it. Okay, add variable. Okay, apply, right? We can generate. We can see the corresponding effect. The efficiency is also higher. In addition, if we want to modify it, its segmentation parameters, we just click it, and then we can, and make modifications here. For example, it's 60 now. We think it's not wide enough. We can change it to 160. Okay, here. We can also change it to 160. Apply it, right? We can control it here. After modification, all the parts will be changed. If we don't use this variable, we have to manually, one by one. After changing this part also needs to be changed. After changing this, we have dozens or hundreds of boards to change. Hundreds of boards need to be changed. If we change them one by one, the workload will be very large, so we need to use this variable to modify it here. Okay? Let's go back to our original topic. If we don't use this variable, if we manually, to write the parameter here, it will be written as a constant. We can't control it through this parameter. But if we use this variable, after we load it, we can use the parameters here to make a setting, okay? So, I recommend that you use to control it. We should try to use this variable to control it. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you, all.